The United States Supreme Court has once again created chaos. Today, the High Court announced that it will take up Donald Trump's immunity claim in late April, a timeline that could end the possibility of holding Trump accountable for trying to steal an election before Americans cast votes in another election this November. And the court is set to make one of the most consequential decisions in modern American history at the precise time when Americans are hugely distrustful of the institution and still reeling from the court's other recent decisions. Because of the court's 2022 decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, the future of reproductive health care, including abortion and fertility treatments, is now at risk. And then there's what the court did in the past 2 years. It ended race-based affirmative action. It blocked gun safety legislation. It allowed businesses to discriminate against LGBTQ people. This court has radically, unilaterally upended American life. And there is one man who, almost more than anyone else, is responsible for all of this. Addison Mitchell McConnell III, or Mitch, to his friends and foes alike. It was 8 years ago this week that Senator Mitch McConnell took one of the most unprecedented and consequential steps in the modern history of the United States Senate.
Republicans threw down the gauntlet today in the fight over the future of the Supreme Court. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said there will be no vote or even any hearings before the election on anyone President Obama nominates to replace Justice Antonin Scalia.
After the death of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, Mitch McConnell announced that he wouldn't even hold a hearing on any nominee President Obama chose to replace Scalia. Why? Because it was an election year, he said.
The next justice could fundamentally alter the direction of the Supreme Court and have a profound impact on our country. So, of course, the American people should have a say in the court's direction.
No one in modern history had ever actually stolen a Supreme Court vacancy from a sitting president until Mitch McConnell. And that decision had a profound impact on the future of the country. Trump won the election thanks to those votes from evangelicals interested in a Supreme Court appointment. And he went on to appoint Neil Gorsuch to the seat that had been stolen from his predecessor. The next year, Trump appointed Brett Kavanaugh to the bench as well. And as yet another presidential election year approached, people started to wonder, what would Mitch McConnell do if another vacancy opened up on the court? Would he help confirm a third Trump justice in an election year?
Supreme Court justice was tried next year. What would you do?
We'd fill it.
I would fill it. On September 18th of 2020, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. And with less than 2 months until the presidential election, Mitch McConnell rushed through the appointment of Amy Coney Barrett. That is how we got the radical conservative majority court we have today. This is Mitch McConnell's legacy. And today, Senator McConnell announced that he would be retiring from Senate leadership this November.
I'm immensely proud of the accomplishments I've played some role in obtaining. Still have enough gas in my tank to thoroughly disappoint my critics. And I intend to do so with all the enthusiasm with which they've become accustomed.
So Mitch McConnell will no longer be running the upper chamber. After a falling out with the former president, McConnell may be trying to wash his hands clean of the Trump-era Republican Party. The irony, of course, is that it is Mitch McConnell who, more than almost anyone else, abided Donald Trump and may have just helped him evade justice.